Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and this presentation is not a substitute for professional financial advice. Always do your own research and consult with a professional for your specific financial situation. You know that feeling? That little ping from your email. The subject line reads, "Your new Spectrum bill is ready." And for a split second your stomach just drops. It's not a big, dramatic feeling. It's a quiet, nagging dread. You click it open, you scroll down to that big, bold number and you see it. It's higher. Again. Maybe it's $5. Maybe it's $20. You don't quite understand why. You scan the page, a jumble of terms like broadcast TV surcharge and regulatory recovery fee swim before your eyes. You sigh. You think, I don't have time for this. You pay it. And the cycle continues. What if I told you that feeling of confusion and resignation is not your fault? What if I told you that your bill is complicated on purpose? It's a meticulously crafted document designed to do one thing: encourage you to pay it without asking questions. It's a magic trick, a brilliant piece of financial misdirection. And today we are going to pull back the curtain. We are going to expose the trick. By the end of this guide, you will not only understand every single line on your Charter Spectrum internet bill, you will have the exact knowledge you need to challenge it, to fight back, and to potentially save hundreds if not thousands of dollars over the next few years. We are turning you into the expert. We are putting the power back in your hands. The single biggest lie sold to us by major internet providers is the price itself. Think back to when you signed up. You saw an ad. High-speed internet for just $49.99 a month. It sounded fantastic. You called, you signed up, and for the first 12 months everything was great. Your bill was predictable. It was exactly what you were promised. But then month 13 arrived. And that $49.99 bill suddenly became $74.99. Then, 6 months later, it's $79.99. You didn't change your service. You didn't download more movies or browse more websites. So what happened? You fell off the promotional cliff. This isn't an accident. It's the fundamental business model. The advertised price, that shiny $49.99, was never the real price. It was an introductory offer, a teaser rate designed to get you in the door. The real standard rate, or as I like to call it, the sticker price, was always lurking in the fine print of the contract you signed. And the company is banking on the fact that by the time the real price kicks in a year later, your life will be too busy, the service will be too integrated into your home, and the process of switching will seem too daunting for you to do anything about it. They are counting on your inertia. They are profiting from your confusion. So let's start by looking at the bill itself. Grab a recent copy of your bill, either paper or a PDF, and let's dissect this beast together piece by piece. The first thing you see is the summary. It's designed to be simple and clean. You'll see previous balance, payments received, new charges, and the big one, total amount due. Most people stop here. They see the final number, they match it to what came out of their bank account, and they move on. This is the biggest mistake you can make. The summary tells you what you owe, but it deliberately obscures why you owe it. The why is buried on the next page, in a section usually called Bill Details or New Charges Breakdown. This is our battleground. This is where the money is hidden. Inside this section, you'll typically find a few key line items. The first and most important is your core service package. It might say Spectrum Internet or Internet Gig. Next to it, you'll see a dollar amount. This is the number you need to interrogate. Is this the same number you were paying 6 months ago? A year ago? If you're like most people, it's significantly higher. This is the standard rate in effect. Your promotional period has expired. The first piece of actionable intelligence you need is to find out when your promotion officially ended, or if you're still in one, when it's scheduled to end. Sometimes this date is printed on your bill, but often it's not. You may have to look back at your very first bill to see the start date and calculate 12 or 24 months from there. Knowing this date is your single greatest piece of leverage when it comes to negotiating a new deal, which we'll cover in a later part of this guide. For now, just find that core internet charge. Look at it. Really look at it. Let's say it's $79.99. Now I want you to ask yourself a simple question. Is the service I am receiving today at this very moment worth $80 a month to me? Is it faster than it was a year ago when I was paying $50? Is it more reliable? For 99% of you, the answer is no. You are paying a 60% premium for the exact same product you had last year. The only thing that changed is the date on the calendar. And that, right there, is the heart of the game. But the price of your core plan is only the first layer of the onion. The next set of charges are often the most infuriating, because they feel like you're paying for nothing at all. I'm talking about equipment fees. You'll see a line item that says something like Wi-Fi service or equipment rental. It might be $5, it might be $10 or more. This is the monthly fee you are paying to rent the modem and router from Charter. Let's do some quick math. A $5 monthly Wi-Fi fee is $60 a year. A $10 fee is $120 a year. Every single year. For a piece of equipment that you could buy yourself outright for less than what you paid to rent it for a single year. Think about that. You are paying an annual subscription for a piece of hardware. It's like paying a monthly fee to Ford for the privilege of using the steering wheel in the car you already bought. It is, in my opinion, one of the most anti-consumer practices in the entire industry. They bake this fee into your bill, and it's small enough that you might not notice it or question it. But over the life of your service, you could be paying $500, $600, even $1,000 to rent a box that you could have owned from day one. We are going to show you exactly how to stop this bleeding. The third and final category of charges is the most mysterious of all. It's the section usually labeled taxes, fees, and other charges. This is where you see that alphabet soup of confusing line items. The broadcast TV surcharge, even if you only have internet. The regulatory recovery fee. The state and local sales tax. Feels like a black box. A list of government-sounding fees that seem official and non-negotiable. But are they? Some are legitimate taxes required by law, but others are cleverly named company-imposed fees, dressed up to look like a tax. A regulatory recovery fee, for instance, is not a tax. It is a fee the company adds to your bill to cover its own cost of doing business and complying with government regulations. They are passing their overhead directly onto you and making it look like a mandatory government charge. So let's recap what we've uncovered so far, just by looking at the surface of your bill. First, the price you're paying for your main internet service is likely an inflated, post-promotional rate that no longer reflects the value you're getting. Second, you're probably paying a never-ending rental fee for equipment you could own for a fraction of the cost. And third, your bill is padded with ambiguous fees designed to look official, but are often just the company passing its own operational costs onto you. Seeing it all laid out like this, it's easy to feel angry, and you should. But I want you to channel that frustration into action. Knowledge is power, and you are now armed with the foundational knowledge of how this bill is constructed. You can now see the matrix. You're no longer just a passive consumer paying a number. You're an analyst, a detective, uncovering the truth hidden in plain sight. You're beginning to understand the rules of the game. And once you understand the rules, you can start to win. So let's get into the game. The very first move, before you even think about calling customer service, before you formulate a plan of attack, is to understand the battlefield. And the battlefield is that multi-page document, either paper or PDF, that lands in your life every single month. We're going to perform an autopsy on your Charter Spectrum bill. We're going to dissect it line by line so you know exactly what every single word, every number, and every piece of fine print actually means. First, let's talk about page 1. The summary. This page is a masterpiece of psychological design. It's clean. It's simple. It has big, bold numbers. You'll see your account number, the billing period, and then, right there in a giant font, amount due. Next to it, a due date. This page is not designed for you. It's designed for your wallet. Its entire purpose is to get you to do one thing: pay the big number without asking questions. It's the magician's great misdirection. Look at this big, simple number. Don't worry about what's happening behind the curtain on page 2, 3, or 4. Just pay this. It's easy. And for years, most of us do just that. We're busy. We see the number, we assume it's right, we pay it, and we move on. That habit, that path of least resistance, is costing you a fortune. From this moment on, you will view page 1 not as the bill, but as the cover of the book. The real story, the one that matters, is inside. So let's turn the page. Welcome to the engine room. This is the detailed breakdown of your charges, and it is where the truth lives. This section can look like a chaotic mess of line items, but it's actually organized into a few key categories. The first and most important is your monthly service charges. This is the foundation of your bill. It's the official non-promotional price for the service you signed up for. It'll say something like Spectrum Internet for their base plan, or Spectrum Internet Ultra, or Internet Gig. Right next to it, you'll see a dollar amount. Now pay close attention here. This number is often the full, undiscounted rack rate. It's the price they hope you'll eventually pay after all your discounts disappear. It's the sticker price on the car, not the price you actually negotiated. And that brings us to the next and arguably most critical section on your bill: promotions and discounts. This is the ticking time bomb. When you first signed up with Charter, they didn't offer you that $75 or $80 rack rate. No, they lured you in with a sweet, irresistible deal. Get 500 megabit internet for just $49.99 a month for 12 months. It sounded amazing. You signed up. And for a year, life was good. Your bill was predictable. Then, on month 13, you open your bill and get a shock. Your bill isn't $50 anymore. It's $80 or $90. What happened? The bomb went off. Your promotion expired. This isn't an accident. It's not a mistake. It is the fundamental business model. They get you in the door with a low price, lock you in for a year, and count on the fact that you'll be too busy, too complacent, or too intimidated to do anything when the price inevitably skyrockets. On your bill, in this section, it will list your specific discount. It might say Internet Promotion minus $25.00. But here is the secret clue you need to find. Somewhere near that line item, often in smaller print, it will say when that promotion ends. It might say expires on August 15, 2024, or offer good for 12 months. Finding that date is like finding the pin on a grenade. You now know exactly when things are set to explode, and you can act before it happens, not after. This one piece of information is your single greatest source of leverage. Okay, moving down the bill. The next section is equipment and other services. I like to call this death by 1,000 cuts. These are the smaller monthly recurring fees that pad your bill and can add up to hundreds of dollars a year. The most common one you'll see from Spectrum is the Wi-Fi service fee. This is typically a $5 charge for the privilege of using the Wi-Fi capability built into the modem/router combo they gave you. You heard that right. You're not just paying for internet service. You're paying a separate, monthly fee to turn that internet service into a wireless signal inside your own home. For many people, this is a non-negotiable cost of doing business. But for those who are a bit more tech-savvy, this is a leak that can be plugged by purchasing your own high-quality router, a one-time expense that can save you $60 every single year. You may also see charges for cable boxes, DVR service, or other add-ons if you have a TV bundle. Your job as a detective is to look at every single line item in this section and ask a simple question. Do I have this piece of equipment? Am I actually using this service? You would be shocked how many people are still paying for a cable box that's been sitting in a closet for 3 years. Finally, we arrive at the murkiest, most confusing part of the entire bill: taxes, surcharges, and fees. This is a jungle of jargon designed to make you throw your hands up in defeat. But we can break it down. There are essentially two types of charges here: the ones you can't do anything about, and the ones that are really just part of the price in disguise. In the first category, you have legitimate, government-mandated taxes, things like state and local sales tax. You also have something called a franchise fee. This sounds scary, but it's simple. Your town or city charges Charter a fee like rent for the right to use public land to run their cables. Charter, in turn, passes that exact cost directly on to you. These are unavoidable. But then you have the second category, the sneaky fees. If you have a TV package, you'll see the infamous broadcast TV surcharge. This is not a tax. Let me repeat. This is not a government tax. This is a fee that Charter completely invented. It represents the cost that they have to pay to local broadcast stations like ABC, NBC, and CBS to carry their signals. Instead of including this in the base price of your TV package, they break it out into a separate, scary-sounding surcharge. Why? Psychology. It makes their advertised package price look $10, $15, or even $20 cheaper than it actually is. It's a shell game. You might also see other fees like a regional sports surcharge. Same concept. It's not a tax. It's a cost of doing business that they've disguised as a mandatory fee. So let's recap. We've moved past the decoy on page 1. We've dissected the engine room on the following pages. We've identified the core of your service cost. We found the ticking time bomb of your promotional discount and, most importantly, its expiration date. We've audited your equipment fees to hunt for ghosts in the machine. And we've navigated the jungle of taxes and fees, separating the legitimate government charges from the clever corporate shell games. You now have a complete map of the battlefield. You understand every charge, what it's for, and where it came from. You can see the architecture of your bill not as a random list of numbers, but as a carefully constructed system designed to maximize the amount of money you pay over time. You now possess the first and most critical element for taking back control, knowledge. But knowledge alone isn't enough. A map is useless if you don't know how to use it. Now that we understand what we're being charged for, the next logical step is to ask a very powerful question. Am I actually getting what I'm paying for? This single question is where the rubber meets the road. It's the difference between being a passive bill payer and an active, informed consumer. Because on your charter bill, you're not just paying for a vague concept called the internet. You are paying for a specific tier of service, a promise of a certain level of performance. And the most fundamental measure of that performance is speed. Think about it. When you buy a gallon of gas, you expect to get a full gallon. When you buy a pound of coffee, you expect a pound. But with internet service, we've been conditioned to accept a fuzzy, ambiguous term. Speeds up to. That little two-word phrase, up to, is one of the most powerful and frankly frustrating phrases in the entire service industry. It gives providers like Charter a massive amount of wiggle room. If you're paying for 300 megabits per second, and you're only getting 200, they can technically say, well, 200 is up to 300. But you and I know that's not what we signed up for. We signed up for the number on the tin. So, how do we cut through the marketing jargon and get to the hard truth? We need to run a diagnostic. We need to measure the actual speed of the connection coming into our home. And we do that with a tool you've probably heard of, but maybe haven't used correctly. A speed test. A speed test is like a digital stopwatch for your internet connection. In a few seconds, it measures 3 key things. First, your download speed, how quickly you can pull data from the internet to your device. This is what you use for streaming Netflix, loading websites, and downloading files. Second, your upload speed, how quickly you can send data from your device to the internet. This is critical for video calls on Zoom or FaceTime, posting high-resolution photos, or online gaming. And third, something called ping or latency. Think of ping as your internet's reaction time. It's the time it takes for a signal to go from your computer to a server and back again. A lower ping is better, especially for things that happen in real time like gaming. Now, here's the critical part, the step where 90% of people go wrong. You cannot get an accurate measure of the service you're paying for by running a speed test on your phone while standing in the kitchen. That's not a test of your Charter internet service. That's a test of your home's Wi-Fi network, which is a completely different animal. Wi-Fi signals are affected by walls, microwave ovens, your neighbor's network, the quality of your router, a dozen different variables that have nothing to do with the signal Charter is delivering to your house. To get a true, undeniable result, you have to perform what I call a clean test. You need to isolate the connection and measure it at its source. Here's how you do it step by step. First, you need a computer with an Ethernet port. A laptop or a desktop will work. And you need an Ethernet cable. This is the cable that looks like a slightly thicker phone cord. This step is non-negotiable. A wired connection is stable, consistent, and eliminates all the variables and interference of Wi-Fi. Second, you're going to plug one end of that Ethernet cable directly into your modem. Not your router, your modem. The modem is the device that the main cable line from the outside world plugs into. It's the gateway. Your router is what creates your home's Wi-Fi network. By plugging directly into the modem, you are bypassing your own router and testing the purest possible signal from Charter. This is crucial because if the speed is slow here at the source, you know the issue isn't with your personal equipment. Third, once you're connected, you need to prepare your computer for the test. Close every single other program, application, and browser tab. If you have downloads running in the background, pause them. If someone else in the house is streaming a 4K movie, ask them to pause for just 2 minutes. You want to ensure that the speed test is the only thing using your internet connection, so it can get a full, accurate measurement of the total available bandwidth. Now you're ready. Open a single web browser tab and go to a reputable speed test website. Speedtest.net by Ookla is the industry standard and the one most technicians use. Fast.com, which is run by Netflix, is also a great simple option. When you get to the site, you'll see a big button that says Go or Start. Click it. For the next 30 seconds, just watch. You'll see the needle on the speedometer jump up as it measures your download speed. Then it will measure your upload, and finally it will give you your ping. And then you'll have it. The numbers. The truth. So what do these numbers mean? Let's compare them to your bill. Pull out that bill we dissected in the last part. Find the line that says Spectrum Internet or Spectrum Internet Ultra. Next to it, you'll see the advertised speed like 300 megabits per second, 500 megabits per second, or 1 gig. That stands for megabits per second. Let's look at your download speed first. This is the big number. Is it close to what you're paying for? Now, you'll almost never get the exact number. There are always some minor overheads and fluctuations in the network. But a good, healthy connection should consistently deliver at least 90 to 95% of the advertised speed on a clean wire test. So if you're paying for 500 megabits per second, anything from 450 megabits per second upwards is a solid result. If you're paying for 500 and you're only getting 150, you have a problem. Next, look at your upload speed. On most cable internet plans, this number will be much lower than your download speed. For a 500 megabits per second download plan, your upload might only be advertised at 20 megabits per second. This is normal for this type of service. Again, compare your result to what Charter promises. If you're supposed to get 20, and you're getting 18 or 19, you're in great shape. Finally, look at your ping measured in milliseconds. For a cable connection, anything under 30 milliseconds is good. Under 20 is great. If you're a serious online gamer, you want this number to be as low as humanly possible. If your ping is consistently high, say over 100 milliseconds, it can make video calls feel laggy and online games unplayable, even if your download speeds look fine. Now, what if your numbers are bad? Before you pick up the phone to call customer service, there are a couple of things you should do. First, don't rely on a single test. Run the clean test 3 or 4 times over the course of a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening during internet rush hour, usually between 7 and 10 p.m. This will show you if the problem is consistent, or if your speeds are just dropping during peak usage times in your neighborhood. Second, do the one thing every tech support agent will ask you to do first. Power cycle your equipment. Unplug the power cord from both your modem and your router. Wait a full 60 seconds. Don't rush it. This allows the internal components to fully discharge and clear their memory. Then plug the modem back in first. Wait for all the lights to become solid, which usually takes a couple of minutes. Once the modem is fully online, plug your router back in. This simple reboot can solve a surprising number of speed and connectivity issues. After rebooting, run the clean test again. If the speeds are now where they should be, fantastic. If they're still significantly lower than what you're paying for, even after multiple tests at different times of day on a direct wired connection, well, now you have something powerful. You have data. You have proof. You've moved beyond a vague feeling of "my internet feels slow" to a concrete fact. I am paying for 500 megabits per second, and after performing a proper diagnostic, I can confirm that I am only receiving 150. And with that data in hand, you are no longer just a customer with a complaint. You are a client with evidence. You've done your homework. You've validated your claim. The dynamic of the conversation you're about to have has completely changed. You are in control. So, the question is no longer if there's a problem. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Now you pick up the phone. Take a deep breath. This isn't a confrontation. It's a clarification. It's a business transaction where one party, you, has identified a potential clerical error and is seeking to resolve it with the other party. You are calm, you are prepared, and you are in control. The number is on the bill. Dial it. You are immediately plunged into the digital labyrinth. The Interactive Voice Response System, or IVR. This is the first gatekeeper. It's a moat designed to filter, to frustrate, and to wear down the unprepared. It will offer you a dozen options, none of which seem to be exactly what you need. For billing questions, press 1. For technical support, press 2. To add new services, press 3. Here is your first strategic decision. Pressing 1 for billing often leads you to a general queue, a sort of customer service purgatory where agents are trained to handle high volumes of simple questions. They are measured on call time. Their primary goal is to get you off the phone as quickly as possible, not necessarily to solve a complex issue. So what do? You listen for the magic words. Sometimes the fastest way to a human being, and often a more empowered one, is to use a specific keyword. When the system asks you to describe the reason for your call in a few words, don't say billing error. That's a trigger for the general queue. Instead, try saying cancel service. Now, this might feel counterintuitive, even dishonest, but let's be clear about what's happening. You are not threatening to cancel, not yet. You are using a keyword to navigate a flawed system. The word cancel is a high priority flag. It bypasses the lower tiers and sends you directly to the one department whose entire job is to keep you happy. The retention department, also known as the loyalty department. These are the agents who have the authority to apply credits, restore promotional pricing, and actually fix problems. If you're not comfortable with that, another effective phrase is, update my plan, or change my services. This also tends to route you to agents with more authority than the basic billing queue. The key is to think like the system. The system wants to either save a customer or sell them more stuff. Your goal is to get to the people who are authorized to do one of those two things. Let's say you've navigated the maze. You're now connected to a living, breathing human being. This is first contact. We'll call them a Tier 1 agent. Their name is probably something friendly, like Chris or Jessica. Chris has a script. Chris has a call time metric hanging over their head. Chris is not your enemy, but their goals are not your goals. This is where your preparation pays off. The first 30 seconds of this call will dictate the next 30 minutes. Do not start with anger. Do not start with a long rambling story about your frustration. That immediately puts the agent on the defensive. They will brace for impact, their empathy will shut down, and they will retreat into their script. Instead, you start with a calm, clear, and collaborative opening. Something like this. Hi, Chris. My name is your name, and I'm hoping you can help me. I'm looking at my most recent bill, and I found a few discrepancies compared to my previous statements and my original service agreement. My account number is your account number. Look at what you just did. You were polite. You stated your purpose clearly. You framed it as a discrepancy, a neutral term, not a mistake or a ripoff. You gave them your account number up front, showing you're organized. You've set the tone. You are a reasonable person looking for a reasonable solution. You've invited Chris to be the hero who helps you. This is basic human psychology, and it works. Chris will pull up your account. They'll likely put you on a brief hold while they review your details. When they come back, they will almost certainly begin with a scripted explanation. It will be something like, okay, I see here that your promotional pricing for the UltraSpeed 500 package has expired. That's why you're seeing the increase of $15. This is the first test. Your research from the previous step is your shield. You do not get angry. You do not argue. You simply state the facts you have already confirmed. I appreciate you looking into that, Chris. However, according to the service agreement I signed on date, that promotional period doesn't expire until October of this year. I have the document right here. The line item was $29.99 last month, and this month it's $44.99. Could you help me understand why it changed 3 months early? Boom. Notice the language. I appreciate you. Could you help me understand? You are keeping it collaborative, but you also just presented a specific, dated fact. You cited your source, the service agreement. You've shown them you have the receipts. This is not a vague feeling that your bill is too high. This is a data-driven inquiry. The agent is now off script. They have to actually look. This is where you might get some pushback, some classic deflection tactics. Tactic number 1. The upsell. Well, I see that the old promotion ended, but the good news is we have a new bundle available. For just $10 more per month, we can upgrade you to the GigaBlast 1000 and add our sports package. That would actually save you money compared to paying for those separately. This is a classic bait and switch. They ignore your problem and try to sell you something else. Your response must be firm but polite. A velvet hammer. Thank you for the offer, Chris, but I'm not looking to change my services today. I'd like to stay focused on resolving the pricing error for the service I already have. Can we go back to that? You acknowledge their offer, decline it, and immediately redirect the conversation back to your original point. You are the conductor of this train, and you are not letting it go off the tracks. Tactic number 2. The jargon cloud. Sir, the rate increase is due to a standard annual rate adjustment that was prorated based on your billing cycle and the legacy coding of the M29 promotion. They are trying to confuse you with internal language, hoping you'll just give up and accept it. Your response. I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. Can you explain it in simple terms? Specifically, how does that override the written expiration date in my service agreement? You refuse to be intimidated. You put the burden back on them to explain their jargon in plain English, which they often can't because it's designed to be confusing. After you've calmly and persistently countered their initial script, one of two things will happen. The agent might say, okay, let me take a look at that agreement. Please hold. This is a win. You've pushed them past their script, or more likely, you will hit the Tier 1 wall. The agent will say something like, "I'm sorry, sir, but my system is showing the promotion has expired. There's nothing more I can do." This is the critical moment where most people get frustrated and hang up. But not you. You knew this moment was coming. The Tier 1 agent often literally does not have the authorization on their computer to issue the credit you need. Arguing with them further is like yelling at a bank teller for the interest rate. They don't set the rules. So, you initiate the next phase of the plan, the escalation, and you do it respectfully. I understand that you might not have the tools to fix this on your end, and I appreciate you trying. In that case, could you please transfer me to your supervisor or to someone in the retention department? I'm confident they'll be able to resolve this. This is the key. You are not attacking the agent. You are acknowledging their limitations and providing them with the logical next step. You're making it easy for them to pass you up the chain of command. You've given them an out. Transferring you is now the simplest way for them to close their ticket and move on to the next call, which helps their metrics. You've aligned your goal with their goal. Chris will likely say, "Okay, please hold while I connect you with my supervisor." You will be put on hold. You will hear terrible, tinny music. But you will not be frustrated. You will be patient, because you have just successfully cleared the first level. You beat the IVR. You disarmed the Tier 1 agent with politeness and preparation. You have been rerouted from the slow lane of customer service onto the expressway, heading directly for the people with the power to actually say, yes. You're on your way to the real decision makers. The game is afoot. So you're on the line. You hear the telltale click and a new, more professional-sounding voice says hello. This is the moment of truth. You've navigated the labyrinth of automated menus and first-tier support, and you're now speaking with the person who holds the keys to the kingdom, the retention specialist. Let's first understand the person on the other end of the line. Their title might be retention, loyalty, or even customer solutions, but their job is singular: keep you from canceling your service. They are professional negotiators. They do this all day, every day. They have a script, a set of pre-approved offers, and a deep understanding of customer psychology. They are not your enemy. In fact, thinking of this as a confrontation is the fastest way to lose. This is not a battle. It's a collaborative problem-solving session where the problem is your high bill, and the solution is finding a price that makes you both happy. Your goal is to make it easy and logical for them to give you the best possible deal they are authorized to give. They have tools and discounts at their disposal that the first person you spoke to couldn't even dream of. They can see your entire history with the company, how long you've been a customer, if you pay your bills on time, how many times you've called in with problems, and most importantly, if you've ever threatened to cancel before. This is your customer profile, and it will influence the offers you get. A loyal long-term customer with a clean payment history is a valuable asset they do not want to lose. You have leverage. The specialist will start with a friendly, disarming greeting. "Hi, I understand you're having some concerns with your bill, and we're thinking about disconnecting your service. This is your opening. Do not be aggressive. Do not be emotional. Be calm, polite, and firm. This is your first move in the chess match. I recommend a script that sounds something like this. Hi, thanks for taking my call. Yes, that's right. I've been a customer with Charter for 7 years now, and I've generally been very happy with the service. But I was looking at my latest bill, and it's just crept up to a price that my budget can no longer justify. I'm calling today because I need to find a way to lower my monthly cost, and frankly, I'm currently exploring other options available in my area. Let's break down why this opening is so powerful. First, you established your loyalty and satisfaction. 7 years. Happy with the service. This tells them you're not a chronic complainer. You're a valuable customer with a legitimate problem. Second, you stated the problem clearly and without emotion. Crept up to a price my budget can no longer justify. This isn't an attack. It's a statement of fact. Third, and this is the critical part, you introduced the idea of competition without being threatening, exploring other options available in my area. You haven't said, "I'm leaving for AT&T." You've said, "I'm looking around." This signals to the retention agent that the clock is ticking, and that a competitor is actively courting you. Now the agent will likely respond with empathy. "I can certainly understand your concern about the price increase, and I want to thank you for being a loyal customer for so long. I'd hate to see you go. Let me pull up your account and see what we can do for you." This is standard procedure. They are buying time looking at their screen and figuring out what their first offer will be. Their first offer is almost never their best offer. Remember that. It's a test. They're trying to see how little they can give up to keep you. They might offer a one-time credit of $20. Or they might offer a $10 a month discount for the next 6 months. When you hear this first lowball offer, your response is crucial. Again, stay polite. Your script should be, "Thank you, I really appreciate you looking into that for me. A $10 discount is a good start, but unfortunately, that doesn't quite get me where I need to be." Notice you didn't reject it outright. You acknowledged it, you thanked them, and you framed it as a good start. This keeps the negotiation positive. Now it's time to introduce your evidence. This is where the homework you did in the previous parts pays off. You continue. "The reason I'm calling is that I have an offer right here from Verizon for their FOS service. They're offering a 100 megabit per second plan, which is similar to what I have now for $49.99 a month, with a 2-year price guarantee and no equipment fees. My current bill with you is $95. I would much rather stay with Charter. Your internet has been more reliable, and frankly, switching is a huge hassle. But a price difference of nearly $45 a month is just too significant for me to ignore. Is there any way you can get closer to matching that offer? Let's dissect this masterpiece." You named the competitor. You stated the specific price and the specific speed. You included extra details like the price guarantee and no equipment fees to show you've done your research. This isn't a vague "my friend has a cheaper plan" complaint. This is a credible data-backed threat. You then did something brilliant. You complimented their service, more reliable, and gave them a reason why you want to stay. Switching is a hassle. You've turned this from a confrontation into a plea for help. You're saying, "Help me stay with you." You've made them your partner in solving this problem. You've handed the retention agent the exact business justification they need to go to their supervisor and say, "This customer has a verified competitor offer for $49.99. To keep them, I need to get them to at least $60. Now the agent might put you on hold. They might say, "Okay, I see. That is a very competitive offer. Let me see what other promotions I might have available. Can you hold for a minute or two?" Say yes. This is a good sign. This is where they access the secret menu of discounts. While you're on hold, they're not just getting a coffee. They're running scenarios, checking their system for hidden retention plans, and possibly even chatting with a supervisor to get approval for a steeper discount. When they come back, the real offer will be on the table. It might not be an exact match of the competitor's price, but it will be a substantial improvement. They might offer you a plan for $59.99 for 12 months. Now you have a decision to make. You can accept it or you can push for just a little more. A gentle final push can sometimes yield surprising results. You could try, "That's much better, thank you. That really helps. Just to be sure, that $59.99 price, does that include all the taxes and fees, or are there other charges on top of that? And is there anything we can do about the $10 modem rental fee? The competitor offer I'm looking at doesn't have one." This is a pro-level move. You're now negotiating the secondary charges. Many people forget this. Getting them to waive a $10 equipment fee for a year is another $120 in your pocket. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't, but it never hurts to ask politely. They might say, "Unfortunately, I can't waive the equipment fee, but I can upgrade your speed from 100 to 300 megabits per second at that same $59.99 price." Suddenly, you're not just saving money, you're getting more value for your dollar. Once you've agreed on a price, whether it's the monthly rate, a waived fee, or a speed upgrade, there is one final, non-negotiable step you must take. You must get confirmation. You need to say this word for word. "That sounds great, I'd like to accept that offer. Could you please summarize the new deal for me one more time? I want to make sure we're both on the same page about the new monthly price, the exact length of the promotional period, and what the price will be after that period ends." Listen carefully. Write it down. Make sure the new rate is effective on your next billing cycle. And then the magic question. "Could you please give me a confirmation number for this change to my account?" That confirmation number is your proof. It's your receipt for the negotiation. If the discount doesn't appear on your next bill, you can call back, provide that number, and get it fixed immediately, bypassing the entire negotiation process. You have just successfully navigated the high-stakes world of bill negotiation. You've used politeness as a weapon and preparation as your armor. But what happens if, after all this, they still say no? What if they call your bluff and say they simply can't offer you a better price? There is one last move you can make. The nuclear option. And it's a move that can sometimes unlock the best deals of all. You tell them you need to cancel your service. Not that you're thinking about canceling. Not that you're unhappy and might cancel. You state, calmly and politely, that you have made your decision and you need to schedule a disconnection date. This is the key that turns the entire lock. Up until this point, you've been dealing with customer service or maybe a low-level supervisor. Their job is to placate you, to offer a token $5 or $10 credit, to read from a script designed to wear you down. But the moment you utter the magic words, "I need to cancel my service," everything changes. An alarm bell goes off deep inside their system. You are no longer just a customer with a complaint. You are a potential churn statistic. And big corporations hate churn more than almost anything else. Your call is immediately flagged for transfer. You will be told something like, "I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm going to connect you with a specialist who can handle that for you." And this is where the real game begins. You are being transferred to the single most powerful group of people in the entire company when it comes to your bill. You are being sent to the retention department. Think of them as the final boss in a video game. They have powers and abilities the regular agents can only dream of. They have access to pricing plans that don't appear on the public website. They can apply discounts and credits with a few keystrokes that a frontline agent would need 3 levels of managerial approval for. Their entire job, their sole purpose for existing, is to stop you from leaving. And they are very, very good at it. This is why your mindset is so critical. You cannot go into this conversation sounding angry or emotional. Anger gives them an angle to work with, to calm you down, to solve the emotional problem. You must be calm, resolved, and even a little sad about it. Your tone should be one of regret, not rage. When the retention specialist picks up, they'll introduce themselves and ask why you're leaving. This is your moment. Don't launch into a long story about your billing history or a bad customer service experience. Keep it simple, direct, and non-negotiable. You say, "Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I've been a customer for a while and the service has been fine, but the price has simply become too high for my budget. I've found a more affordable option, so I need to schedule a date to disconnect my service." Let's break down why this sentence is so powerful. First, you complimented the service. This immediately disarms them. You're not a hater they can dismiss. You're a reasonable person. Second, you made it about the price and your budget. This is an unarguable point. They can't tell you what you can and can't afford. It's a personal financial decision, and it frames the entire conversation around numbers, not feelings. Third, and most importantly, you mention you have another option. This is your leverage. This tells them you are not bluffing. You have a backup plan. Now, you don't actually need to have a new provider signed up and ready to go, but you do need to know what your alternatives are. Do your homework. Is T-Mobile or Verizon 5G home internet available in your area for $50 a month? Is there a local fiber company running a special? Knowing the competitor's price gives you a concrete number to work with. If you say, "I can get 300 megabits per second from AT&T for $60 a month," you've just set the target for the retention specialist. Their job is now to meet or beat that number. The specialist will now open their playbook. The first offer is almost never their best offer. They might offer you a $10 or $15 discount for the next 6 months. This is a test. They're seeing if you'll take the easy way out. You must politely decline. "Thank you for that, I appreciate you looking into it, but that's still significantly higher than the other offer I have. I'd still like to proceed with the cancellation." This is when they start to take you seriously. They might put you on a brief hold while they look for other promotions. This is where they access the hidden menu, the deals reserved for people who are actually walking out the door. They'll come back with a new offer. Maybe it's a new customer promotional rate, the same one you had when you first signed up. This is a good offer, and for many people this is the victory you were looking for. If they offer you the new customer price, you have successfully reset your bill. You can choose to accept it. But what if you want to push further? Or what if their better offer still isn't good enough? You hold the line. "That's a much better price, thank you. But to be honest, the offer from competitor is still a little bit lower, and it comes with a 2-year price lock. I think I still need to go ahead and cancel." Notice the language. You're not being demanding. You're being presented as a savvy consumer making a logical choice. You are forcing them to compete for your business in real time. This is when the truly spectacular deals can emerge. They might offer to match the competitor's price exactly. They might throw in a speed upgrade for free. They might waive your modem rental fee for a year. the retention department has a certain budget they can use to save an account, and by holding firm, you are forcing them to use all of it on you. But here's the most important part of this entire strategy. You must be willing to actually go through with it. If you get to this point and they call your bluff if they say, "I'm sorry, that's the absolute best price we can offer," what date would you like to set for your disconnection? You have to give them a date. If you back down at this moment, you lose all your leverage. You've shown them your cards, and they know you'll fold under pressure. From that point on, they'll never take your cancellation threat seriously again. So you give them a date, say a week or two in the future. "Okay, I understand. Let's set the disconnection for the end of my billing cycle, on the 28th. You thank them for their time and you hang up. Now I know what you're thinking. I just canceled my internet. What do I do now? First, take a deep breath. The game is not over. In fact, it has just entered its most interesting phase. You see, even after the retention department fails, Charter has one last line of defense. And it's often the one that provides the most shocking discounts of all. Once your cancellation is officially in the system, a different set of gears starts turning. This is no longer about customer service. It's about marketing. The company knows it is vastly more expensive to acquire a brand new customer than it is to win back an old one. So they launch a win-back campaign targeted directly at you. Within a few days, you might get an email. The subject line will be something like, "We want you back," or an exclusive offer to reconnect. Or even more powerfully, you might get a physical piece of mail, a postcard or a letter with a special offer that is significantly better than anything the retention agent had on their screen. We're talking prices that are sometimes 50 or 60% lower than what you were paying. They might offer you a $100 gift card to come back. They might offer you their top-tier internet speed for the price of their lowest-tier plan. This is the company's last-ditch desperation play. They have already lost you as a customer. They've processed the cancellation. Any revenue they get from you now is a bonus. This is why these win-back offers are so aggressive. You simply call the special number on the offer, accept the deal, and your cancellation is reversed. You get an incredible price, usually locked in for a year or two, and you never have a single second of service interruption. You have played the game to its absolute conclusion and won. By being willing to walk away, you unlocked a level of savings that 99% of customers never even know exists. But that victory, that feeling of pure, unadulterated triumph, it's fragile. It can be snatched away in a single moment with a single piece of paper, or more likely, a single PDF attachment in an email. I'm talking about your next bill. The first bill after you've made the change. This is the final boss. This is the last hurdle where everything you've worked for can be undone by confusion, complexity, and a little bit of corporate sleight of hand. Because I guarantee you, when you open that first bill, your heart is going to sink. It will not be the simple, beautiful number you agreed to. It will be a convoluted mess of charges and credits that looks nothing like what you were promised. And 99% of people in that moment throw their hands up and say, "Well, I guess this is just what it is," and they pay it. And in doing so, they often lock themselves into a higher rate than they agreed to for the next 12 months. You are not going to be one of them. To understand this first bill, you have to understand one of the most intentionally confusing concepts in the billing world: proration. Proration sounds like a boring accounting term because it is, but it's the primary weapon they use to confuse you. Here's what it means in plain English. Charter, like most service providers, bills you for the month ahead. You pay in July for your July service. But let's say you made your glorious deal with the retention department on June 15th. You were halfway through the billing cycle for June. You had already paid for all of June at your old, expensive rate. But on June 15th, you switched to your new, cheaper rate. So what happens? Your bill has to account for this change. It has to charge you for the first half of June at the old rate, and the second half of June at the new rate. This is proration. When you open that first bill, you're not going to see one simple line item for internet service. You're going to see a battlefield of charges. First, you'll likely see a charge called partial month Spectrum Internet for a certain date range, say June 1st to June 14th. Next to it will be a charge that corresponds to your old, expensive rate. Then, right below it, you'll see another charge, partial month Spectrum Internet, for June 15th to June 30th. Next to that will be a charge that corresponds to your new, cheaper rate. But wait, there's more. Because they bill a month in advance, you'll then see a third charge, Spectrum Internet, for the full upcoming month, July 1st to July 31st. This one should, in theory, be your new agreed-upon monthly price. Are you confused yet? Of course you are. That's the entire point. It's designed to be a maze. But here's the most critical piece of the puzzle, the part everyone misses. Remember, you already paid for all of June at the beginning of June at the old high price. So, somewhere on that bill, usually in a separate section called Credits and Adjustments, there should be a credit. It should be a negative number. This credit represents the money they are giving you back for the second half of June, the part you overpaid for before you switched to the new plan. So, the math should look something like this: the partial charge for the first half of the month at the old rate, plus the partial charge for the second half of the month at the new rate, plus the full charge for the upcoming month at the new rate, minus the credit for the part of the month you already paid for. The final number, the amount due, should equal your new monthly rate plus some prorated weirdness. The problem is, it almost never does. This is where they get you. You need to become a forensic accountant for 5 minutes. Put that bill under a microscope. The most common error is that the credit is missing or incorrect. They're happy to bill you twice for the same period, but they often forget to credit you back for the portion you've already paid for. The second most common error is a ghost charge. Suddenly, a $10 Wi-Fi activation fee appears out of thin air, even though you've had Wi-Fi for 5 years. Or a $15 service change fee materializes. These are phantom charges, pure and simple, designed to see if you're paying attention. You must assume you are being tested. Treat it like a pop quiz. Scan every single line item. Does the full month charge for the upcoming month match the exact rate you were quoted? Not $1 more? Are there any new fees you don't recognize? Is the credit for the prorated old service there? And is it the correct amount? If anything, and I mean anything, looks off, you must act immediately. But before you pick up the phone, I want you to do something that feels counterintuitive. I want you to turn off autopay. Right now. Log into your account and disable automatic payments. This is the single most important piece of advice for this phase of the process. If you have autopay on, that incorrect, inflated amount will be automatically sucked out of your bank account. And let me tell you, it is 1,000 times harder to get money back from a corporation than it is to withhold payment on an incorrect bill. Turning off autopay puts the ball back in your court. It forces a conversation. You are no longer asking for a refund. You are disputing an incorrect charge before it's been paid. The power dynamic shifts entirely in your favor. Okay, autopay is off. You've reviewed the bill and found an error. Now you call the regular customer service number, not the retention department. This is a billing issue. When you get a representative on the line, you are going to be polite, calm, and unshakably firm. You will say something like this: "Hello. I'm calling about my most recent bill dated date. I recently changed my plan on date of your retention call, and the first bill doesn't seem to match the new rate I was quoted. I was hoping you could walk me through it." They will pull up your bill and start explaining the proration. Let them nod along. And then when they're done, you pinpoint the discrepancy. "Thank you for explaining that. I see the prorated charges, but the representative I spoke with, and I have the chat transcript right here, confirmed my new total monthly rate would be $49.99. This bill comes to $72.14. It looks like there's a $15 plan change fee that was never mentioned, and the prorated credit for my previous payment seems to be missing." This is where you present your evidence. The chat transcript, the confirmation email, the date and time of the call, and the representative's ID number you so diligently wrote down. You are not accusing. You are not yelling. You are simply pointing out a discrepancy between the agreement you made and the bill they sent. You are a partner helping them correct an error on their end. 9 times out of 10, they will see the error, especially when you have proof. They will say, "Oh, you're right. I see that fee shouldn't be there. I can apply a one-time credit to your account for the difference to correct this bill." And that's it. You accept the credit, make a note of it, and ask for a confirmation number for the change. You then manually pay the now corrected amount online. And you leave autopay off for 1 more month just to make sure the next bill that comes is clean, simple, and exactly the number you fought so hard for. Scrutinizing this first bill is the final, non-negotiable step to cementing your victory. It's the difference between saving $500 over the next year and getting tricked into paying $100 more because you weren't paying attention. You've come this far. Don't fall at the final hurdle. Check the bill, turn off autopay, and defend your new rate. So what happens when you do all that work? You follow every step, you get the confirmation email, and the first bill that arrives is still wrong? Your heart sinks. That promised $45 rate is sitting there on the PDF as $85. The frustration, the anger. It's instant. You feel duped. You feel like all that effort was for nothing. And your first instinct is probably to grab the phone, punch in the number, and get ready to unload on the first person who picks up. We've all been there. We've all felt that hot flash of anger when we feel like a massive corporation is trying to pull a fast one. But I'm going to tell you right now, that is the single worst thing you can do. Going in hot, unprepared, and angry is a one-way ticket to a 2-hour phone call that ends with you screaming into the void and hanging up with nothing to show for it but a spike in your blood pressure. The system is designed to wear down emotional callers. It's a maze of automated menus, transfers, and polite but powerless customer service agents. Yelling at that first agent, the one who makes $12 an hour and is just trying to get through their shift, is like yelling at the cashier at McDonald's because the price of the Big Mac went up. They didn't set the price, and they certainly don't have the power to change it. All they can do is follow their script, and their script for an angry customer is to transfer you, put you on hold, and hope you go away. We're not going to do that. We're going to treat this like a mission. You are the hero of this story, and you are on a quest to retrieve your stolen money. And every successful mission begins with preparation. Before you even think about dialing that number or opening that chat window, you need to assemble your dossier. This is your evidence file. First, pull up the confirmation email from Charter that shows your new promotional rate. Print it out or save it as a PDF on your desktop. Second, if you made the deal over a chat, find that chat transcript. You did save it, right? If you didn't, go back into your account on their website. Sometimes you can find a history of your support chats there. This is your smoking gun. Third, find the bill in question, the one with the incorrect charge. Download it. Have it open. You need to be able to refer to the exact numbers, the billing period, and the date. Finally, if you made the deal over the phone, I hope you followed our advice from before and wrote down the date and time of the call, the name or agent ID number of the person you spoke with, and the confirmation number they gave you. This file is your shield and your sword. Without it, you're just another angry person on the phone making claims. With it, you are a customer with documented, undeniable proof of an agreement. You've just shifted the entire power dynamic. Next, you need to define your objective. What specifically do you want to happen? It's not just fix my bill. Be precise. Your objective is twofold. One, you want a credit applied to your current bill for the overcharge amount. If the bill was supposed to be $45 and they charged you $85, you want a $40 credit. 2, you want confirmation that the promotional rate of $45 has been correctly applied to your account moving forward, so this doesn't happen again next month. Write it down on a sticky note and put it on your monitor. This is your mission goal. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get dragged into an argument about other services or new promotions. Stick to the objective. Now it's time to choose your battlefield: phone call or online chat. Each has its advantages. The phone call can be faster, and sometimes speaking to a human being can create a better connection, allowing you to use your tone of voice to convey calm confidence. The downside is that you have no record of what was said, other than your own notes. The online chat, on the other hand, can be slower. You might be juggling multiple chats at once, but it has one massive, critical advantage. It creates a written transcript of the entire conversation. It's an automatically generated piece of evidence. My recommendation? Start with the chat. It's lower stakes, gives you time to think through your responses, and provides that all-important transcript. If the chat agent can't or won't solve your problem, then you escalate to the phone and you can begin that phone call by saying, "I was just in a chat with an agent, reference number 12345, and we were unable to resolve the issue. I have the transcript right here." See how powerful that is? You're already starting from a position of authority. Okay, dossier assembled, objective defined, battlefield chosen. It's time to engage. Take a deep breath. Remember the golden rule of customer service calls. Be kind but be firm. You are not calling to make a friend, but you are also not calling to make an enemy. The person on the other end is a human being. Start the interaction with a calm, clear, and concise statement of facts. Here's your opening script. Memorize it. Whether it's in the chat box or on the phone, this is how you begin. "Hello. I'm calling about an error on my most recent bill. My account number is..." Your account number. On date, I spoke with agent name if you have it, and confirmed a new promotional rate of $45 per month. I have the confirmation email right here. Reference number. Confirmation number. My new bill, however, shows a charge of $85. I need assistance in getting a $40 credit for this bill, and ensuring the correct rate is applied for future months. That's it. Look at what you just did. In less than 30 seconds, you've told them who you are, what the problem is, and that you have proof. You've been polite, professional, and you've already told them exactly what you need. You haven't accused anyone of lying or cheating. You've simply stated that there is an error. You're giving them a chance to fix it gracefully. 9 times out of 10, a frontline agent who sees you are this prepared will just fix the problem. They don't want to hassle any more than you do. They'll see the notes on your account, see the promotion, and realize a mistake was made. They'll apply the credit, confirm the rate, and you'll be done in 10 minutes. But what if you get that one agent who says, "I'm sorry, I don't see that promotion in our system," or "I'm not authorized to make that kind of adjustment"? This is the first roadblock. This is where most people lose their cool. You won't. You'll remain calm and you'll use the magic words. You'll say, "I understand that this might be outside of what you can authorize. I have the documentation right here showing the agreed upon rate. Could you please transfer me to a supervisor or to the retention department? I need to speak with someone who has the authority to correct this billing error." Don't ask, "Can I speak to your manager?" That puts them on the defensive. By phrasing it as you did, you're acknowledging their limitations and asking for the appropriate next step. It's collaborative, not confrontational. The phrase retention department is key. This is the team with the power. Their entire job is to keep you from canceling your service, and they have a whole toolbox of discounts, credits, and special offers that regular agents don't have access to. Getting to retention is like finding the secret level in a video game where all the power-ups are. Once you get a supervisor or, ideally, someone in retention on the line, you simply repeat the process. Start with your calm, fact-based opening script. They will see that you're not an easy target to dismiss. You're an informed customer with evidence. Explain the situation clearly, reference your proof, and state your objective. They know that if they can't fix a legitimate, documented error, they risk losing you as a customer entirely. And their performance is measured by how many customers they save. They are financially motivated to help you. And once they agree to fix it, and they will, you have one final crucial step. Before you hang up or end the chat, you need to lock it in. Ask them this: "Thank you so much, I really appreciate your help. For my records, could I get a reference number for this call? And can you confirm that I will see a $40 credit on my next bill? And that the monthly charge going forward will be $45 plus taxes?" Get them to verbally or textually confirm the exact numbers. Then, ask if they can send a confirmation email detailing the changes. If they can't, you make your own record immediately. The date, the time, the agent's name and ID, the reference number, and exactly what was promised. This isn't about being difficult. It's about being diligent. You are simply closing the loop, creating a new piece of evidence that ensures you don't have to do this all over again in 30 days. By following this battle plan, you transform a moment of pure frustration into an orderly, efficient, and successful negotiation. You take back control from the faceless corporate maze and you secure the deal you rightfully made. You defended your rate. But what happens when the battle plan fails? What if you follow every step, you present your case flawlessly, you have the competing offers ready, and the agent on the other end of the line simply says, "No"? What if their final offer is still too high? Or they refuse to budge on a fee you know is bogus? Or let's be honest, what if you win the negotiation, you get your old rate back for another year, but the whole process leaves you feeling exhausted? Used? Like you just won a temporary ceasefire in a war. You know you'll have to fight again in exactly 365 days. Is this really a victory? Or is it just delaying the inevitable? This is the moment you have to ask yourself a bigger question. Is defending your rate with this company even worth the effort anymore? Because the ultimate power you hold, the single greatest piece of leverage in this entire game, isn't your negotiation skill. It's your ability to walk away. For years, millions of Americans have felt trapped. They believed they only had one choice for high-speed internet. Your neighborhood was either a Charter Spectrum neighborhood or a Comcast Xfinity neighborhood. It was a local monopoly, a digital fiefdom, and you were just a serf paying tribute every month. But the landscape is changing faster than you might think. And understanding this new landscape is the key to your liberation. Leaving your current provider isn't a failure to negotiate. It's a graduation. It's an upgrade. It's you, the consumer, finally taking advantage of a market that is, for the first time in a long time, actually becoming competitive. So where do you begin? Your first step is reconnaissance. You need to know who else is on the battlefield. The single best tool for this is a website like broadbandnow.com or the FCC's official national broadband map. You type in your address, and it will generate a list of every internet service provider, or ISP, that is available at your specific home. Not your city, not your zip code, but your actual front door. This is critical. You might be shocked at what you find. That monopoly you thought you were living under might have crumbled without you even noticing. As you look at this list, you're going to see a few different types of internet technology. Understanding them is the difference between making a lateral move and making a life-changing upgrade. First, you have cable, which is what you likely have now with Charter. Its main competitors are companies like Xfinity and Cox. It runs over the same coaxial cables as cable television. It's a reliable workhorse, but it has a fundamental weakness. Its speeds are almost always asymmetrical. That means your download speed is much faster than your upload speed. We'll come back to why that's so important in a minute. Next, the new king of the hill, fiber optic internet. This is the gold standard. Companies like AT&T Fiber, Verizon FiOS, and a growing army of local and regional providers are laying down these glass cables all over the country. Fiber transmits data as pulses of light, which means it's incredibly fast and incredibly reliable. But its killer feature is symmetrical speeds. A 500 megabit per second fiber plan means 500 download and 500 upload. It doesn't buckle under pressure during peak hours, and it's more resilient to weather. If fiber is available at your address, it should be your number one consideration. Then you have the disruptive challenger, 5G home internet. This is the newest player in the game, offered by cellular companies like T-Mobile and Verizon. Instead of a wire coming into your house, you get a small receiver that picks up the same 5G signal your phone uses and turns it into a powerful Wi-Fi network. The advantages are huge. Setup is often as simple as plugging a box into the wall. The pricing is extremely competitive and often fixed for life, and there are typically no data caps or equipment fees. The downside? Its performance can vary more than a wired connection. It all depends on your proximity to their cellular tower and how congested the network is in your area. But for millions of people, it's a fantastically reliable and affordable alternative to cable. Finally, you might see older technologies like DSL, which runs over old copper phone lines and is significantly slower, or satellite, which used to be the only option for many rural homes. While traditional satellite from companies like HughesNet and Viasat is plagued by slow speeds and high latency, new players like Starlink are completely changing the game, offering high-speed connections almost anywhere on the planet. Now you have your list of options. The next step is to compare them, not just on price but on true value. This is where you apply the cynical expert eye you've developed throughout this series. First, look at the speed. Don't just look at the download number. Ask about the upload speed. In our modern world of video calls, online gaming, cloud backups, and content creation, upload speed is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. That 500 megabit cable plan from Charter might only give you 20 megabits of upload speed. That 500 megabit fiber plan will give you 500. That is a 25-fold difference. It's the difference between a crystal clear Zoom call and a pixelated frozen mess. Second, interrogate the price. You see an ad for $50 a month. Your job is to find out what that really means. Ask the magic question. What will be the total, all-in price on my first bill, including all taxes, fees, and equipment rentals? Then ask the even more important follow-up. This is a promotional price. What will the regular, non-promotional price be after this 12-month deal expires? And can you send me that in writing? Some companies, especially the 5G providers, are moving to a flat-rate model with no promotional shenanigans. This is a massive selling point. A $50 plan is a $50 plan, period. That stability alone can be worth switching for. Third, investigate the fine print. Are there data caps? While it's becoming less common for wired internet, some providers still have them, and the overage fees can be astronomical. Is there an installation fee? Can it be waived? What is the policy for returning equipment? You must treat this process like an investigation, gathering intelligence to make the best possible decision for your household. Once you've chosen your new provider, it's time to manage the transition like a professional. This is crucial. Do not, under any circumstances, cancel your old service before your new service is installed and running perfectly. I repeat, do not cancel first. Schedule your new installation. Then, once the new technician has left, and you have personally tested your new connection and are satisfied with its speed and stability, only then do you make the call to cancel your old service. Yes, this may mean you have a day or two of overlap where you're paying for two services. Think of this as a tiny insurance premium to guarantee you are never without a connection. It's the smartest $10 you'll ever spend. Finally, the last hurdle, returning your old equipment. This is where companies claw back millions of dollars from unsuspecting customers. You must be meticulous. When you go to drop off your old modem and router, do not just hand it over the counter. Get a printed receipt for the return. Before you walk away, take out your phone and take a clear, well-lit picture of that receipt. If you can, take a picture of the employee taking the equipment from you with the serial numbers visible. Email these photos to yourself with the subject line like, Charter Equipment Return, Date. It may seem like overkill, but I promise you, 6 months from now when you get a $200 bill from a collection agency saying you never returned your modem, you will be eternally grateful you have that digital proof. By following this process, you are executing the ultimate power play. You're not just switching providers. You are exiting a system designed to exploit your loyalty and entering a new one on your own terms. You've replaced frustration with freedom and inflated bills with fair prices for superior technology. You've done the research, you've made the leap, and you are finally in control. But your journey to total internet bill mastery isn't quite over. There's one final mindset, one last strategy to adopt that will ensure you never get taken for a ride again, no matter who your provider is. It's about building a permanent system of vigilance, and we're going to build it together in our final part. This system is your shield. It's a simple 3-part framework that you set up once, and it protects you forever. It automates your awareness, turning you from a passive bill payer into an active financial guardian. Let's call it the Bill Guardian System. It's free, it takes about 10 minutes to set up, and it will save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime, not just with Charter, but with every single recurring bill you have. Part 1 is the simplest and most powerful, the monthly check-in. Right now, I want you to pull out your phone. Open your calendar app. I'll wait. Okay, you've got it? I want you to create a new recurring event. Set it for the same day every single month. Pick a day that's about 3 or 4 days after your Charter bill is normally generated. For the title of the event, type in all caps, Review Internet Bill. Set it to repeat monthly forever. Now this is the most important part. In the notes section of that calendar event, I want you to type out a simple checklist. Just 3 items. 1. What is the base rate? 2. What are the total fees and taxes? 3. When does my promotion end? That's it. You have just created an automated reminder that will force you, for 2 minutes every month, to be a conscious consumer. When that alert pops up, you don't even have to log into your account. Just open the bill PDF from your email. Glance at it. Does the base rate match last month? Are there any new weird fees? You're just checking for anomalies. This simple 30-second setup you just did single-handedly defeats the primary business model of these companies, which relies on you not paying attention. Part 2 of the Bill Guardian System is the digital archive. Every single company, including Charter, banks on the fact that you don't keep your old bills. When you call them to dispute a charge, they have all the records and you have your memory. We're going to flip that script. Create a folder on your computer or in a cloud service like Google Drive or Dropbox. Call it Household Bills. Inside that folder, create another one called Internet. From this day forward, every time you get your monthly bill notification, you will download the PDF of the statement and save it in that folder. And you will use a specific naming convention. Name the file Charter Bill So for October of 2024, the file name would be Charter Bill 2024-10. Why is this so powerful? Because a year from now, when your bill suddenly jumps by $20, you won't have to guess what you were paying. You can call them and say with absolute certainty, "Hi, I'm looking at my bill from last July, file name Charter Bill 2023-07, and my internet gig service was $69.99. This month it is $89.99. Can you please explain the $20 line item increase?" The tone of that conversation is entirely different. You're no longer a confused customer. You are an organized individual with documented proof. You have the receipts. This immediately shifts the power dynamic in your favor. They know you can't be fooled or given a runaround. And that brings us to the final, most crucial part of the system, the annual rate renegotiation. Go back to your calendar. I want you to create one more event. Find the date that your current promotion expires. We talked about how to find this on your bill. Let's say it expires on June 1st of next year. I want you to create an all-day event for May 1st of next year, a full month before the expiration. Title this event, Renegotiate Internet Rate. In the notes for this event, create another checklist. It should say 1. Research competitor pricing for my address. 2. Review my last 6 internet bills for my average rate. 3. Call Charter Loyalty Department to lock in a new 1-year promotion. Set this as a yearly recurring event. What have you just done? You have transformed a reactive, stressful chore into a proactive, planned financial task. You will never again be surprised by a massive bill increase after a promotion ends. Instead, a month before it happens, your phone will politely remind you that it's time to make a quick call and save yourself hundreds of dollars. It becomes a routine like changing the batteries in your smoke detector or getting your oil changed. It's just smart, scheduled maintenance for your financial life. This 3-part system, the monthly check-in, the digital archive, and the annual renegotiation, is your permanent solution. It's a framework of vigilance that runs on autopilot, takes a few minutes to set up, and then it works for you in the background forever. And the beauty of it is that this isn't just about Charter. You can, and you should, replicate this exact system for your cell phone bill, your car insurance, your streaming services, everything. Create the calendar alerts. Build the digital archives. Schedule the annual renegotiations. What we've really done over these 10 parts is change your relationship with these necessary expenses. You are no longer just a name and an account number on a spreadsheet, a passive revenue stream to be maximized. You are an informed, organized, and proactive manager of your own money. You understand the game, you know the players, and you've built a system to ensure you always have the upper hand. You've learned that the bill itself is a story, and you now know how to read every chapter, from the summary page to the fine print. You've learned that the price is not fixed. It's a negotiation, and you now have the scripts and the confidence to walk into that negotiation prepared to win. And most importantly, you've now built an automated system to make sure you never drop the ball, that you're never caught off guard again. The power these companies have is built on a foundation of customer inertia and confusion. They count on you being too busy, too intimidated, or too disorganized to question a $5 fee here or a $10 price creep there. They know that over millions of customers, that apathy adds up to billions of dollars in revenue. Your Bill Guardian system is a declaration that you will no longer be a part of that statistic. So here is your final piece of homework, your first step in this new reality. Before you watch another video, before you switch to another tab, complete the setup. If you haven't already, take the next 5 minutes and create those 2 recurring events in your calendar and that 1 folder on your computer. That simple action, that 5-minute investment right now, is the physical manifestation of everything you've learned. It's the first down payment on a future where you are in complete and total control. You now have the knowledge. You have the tools. You have the system. The power is and always was yours. Now go and use it.